Alright, hey VC, it's Jamie. Welcome back with another video and more pickups. We've got three reissues off the top and then the rest used vinyl. So let's get to it. First off, picked up Funkadelic's first album. This is a reissue on Westbound Records. Love Funkadelic, a band I've been really getting into, and certainly a band getting lots of love on the VC for sure. But of course, this is George Clinton's outfit under the direction of Mr. George Clinton. There's Parliament, then there's also Funkadelic, and Parliament and Funkadelic would sometimes merge. But this is just great, heavy funk, heavy soul. Absolutely love Parliament Funkadelic, and just love the guitar vocals of Eddie Hazel. Fantastic. So yeah, it's a nice reissue overall, and on the great Westbound label, which I do think is a really cool label. And there you go. Okay, Westbound. This album came out in 1970. Okay, this was a sort of a reissue blind buy, if you will. This just looked too interesting to pass up. UK band called The Factory. Not a lot known about this band, and this is an album called Path Through the Forest that basically collects a number of their singles together. They hadn't really put out any albums, but this is kind of a compilation of their singles, and it's in mono. And then it says the hype sticker here, Factory, Path Through the Forest, complete surviving recordings by UK freak beat psych legends Factory. Features they're both incredibly rare 45s with classics such as Path Through the Forest and Try a Little Sunshine. And it's really kind of nice. It's definitely kind of psyche overall, but I was very much impressed. Like it looked like an interesting album, and I really enjoyed overall. It's great kind of pop psych, if you will, but nice packaging with the actual authentic fold back sleeve or fold back jacket, not pretend like on many of the Pink Floyd reissues where they have it, but it's really just a line across. So these are actually nice fold back jacket. And also, what's interesting, I thought, okay, well, obviously it's not, the album's not very long. It's almost more of an EP sort of thing. So side one is a number of these A and B sides, but then side two is sort of another version of their first single, but the way it was intended, with like extra sound effects and things like that going on that the record company didn't like at the time, so they took that off and released it with the original version, Path Through the Forest. But side A is 33 and a third RPM, and since there's just the one song on side B, it's 45 RPM on the flip side. And I believe this reissue first came out in 2008. This is a 2019 repressing of that initial issue of it. But yeah, so side one is 33 and a third, and then side two is 45. Very cool and really nice overall. It was a band I didn't know anything about. Just looks super interesting. And I enjoyed, and it's a nice lined sleeve as well, so really nice packaging overall for that. Okay, and one more reissue, the first Hawkwind album. I don't see too much Hawkwind in the wild these days. This is on the great label Four Men with Beards reissue label. Really nice heavy-duty cardboard jacket. And the great Hawkwind first album, and this is on limited edition. That says limited edition of 500 blue vinyl. So here it is. It's quite nice. Hopefully you can see that. And yeah, I just put the hype sticker on the sleeve. I know sometimes people don't like that, but yeah, it's got to go somewhere. And just a simple paper sleeve, though, with that, no lining, but really like nice, heavy-duty cardboard jacket. So love the space rock of Hawkwind. Oh, okay, and now we go to used vinyl pickups. B.W. Stevenson. Really enjoying this artist. This is the album Lead Free. It was the next album that he had the really big hit, My Maria. If you like singer-songwriter stuff, I know you might be looking at this and thinking, well, okay. He does have country leanings, but it's real singer-songwriter stuff. One or two of the tracks, honestly, if I didn't know who was playing, I would have almost thought it was Harry Chapin. at times. He also does a cover on this one of "Peaceful Easy Feeling," but it was a cover, but it had this album's from 1972, so the Eagles also released "Peaceful Easy Feeling," so it's not quite a cover. They kind of both came out the same year, sort of thing. So it is a cover, but yeah, but nice singer-songwriter stuff. But on the RCA, it does have country leanings, and it is on the RCA label, and certainly this RCA or Orange label had a lot of country artists, as I recall, on that. But yeah, from 1972, worth checking out. B.W. Stevenson. Okay, and certainly an album that definitely has country leanings from a rockabilly background. Ronnie Hawkins. This is his 1970 album for Atlantic Records under the Catalan label. And in terms of this album, not bad overall. He's got definitely some country folk leanings on this because I think definitely taking advantage of the band, his former band members under the Hawks, and of course the band were doing big stuff in 1969, 1970. So I think it was definitely taking advantage of that sort of sound. So for a guy who had a hard rockabilly R&B background, he's definitely doing a lot of the folky country leanings with Bob Dylan's One More Night, Gordon Lightfoot's Bitter Green, Will the Circle Be Unbroken, but also slipping in the rockabilly stuff like Matchbox, also Down in the Alley, Who Do You Love, which was one of his first big R&B hits, at least in Canada. But then also doing Gordon Lightfoot's Home from the Forest. What's interesting about this album, on Atlantic, produced by Jerry Wexler and Tom Dowd, and features King Biscuit Boy on harmonica and the guitar stylings of Duane Allman on this one. So certainly in terms of rock and roll history. Now, unfortunately, somebody back in the day put some pen marks on there. They'd also actually written some stuff in pencil, but I actually was able to rub that out okay. But not going to be able to take care of the pen. But yeah, overall, not a bad album, not great. And even the rockabilly stuff gets kind of toned down by the production, but you know, they were going for sort of a more of a country folky kind of sound with it. But certainly, boy, with Duane Allman on there, not bad at all. Okay, and we've got Paul McCartney's the Russian album. Now, I don't know, I know obviously about the album. This is all Paul McCartney. Initially, it was released only in the Soviet Union, only in Russia at the time. Then it became a worldwide release, and where it's all rock and roll R&B covers. And for my money, when Paul McCartney does like rock and roll tributes or R&B covers, I really do think that's Paul McCartney at his finest. He gives it his all. His vocals are always like spot on. I really do like when he does that sort of, you know, any of the old like Hound Dog, any of that kind of stuff. When he does the old rockabilly or rock and roll stuff, I think he is absolutely terrific. So this is I don't know how far back this issue goes. It says it's 1988 on, of course, the you know, the MPL label, but I think this is a fairly early copy, obviously, because the cardboard jacket is quite thin, and it has all of the like there's nothing in English on it, and it's on the white label. I think the original Russian albums were on the red label, but I'm not sure how far back this particular copy goes, but I think it's a fairly early world press because it really has the hallmarks of that sort of European cover. That's kind of thinner cardboard, but really enjoy this album. Absolutely. Okay, a little 80s Aretha. Forgot what a fun album this is. Kicks off with Jimmy Lee, the duet with George Michael, Knew You Were Waiting for Me, and then Jumpin' Jack Flash that features Keith Richards and Ron Wood. Overall, a fun, I mean, it definitely has its 80s sound, but boy, when you put an album like this on, and if you think that vinyl doesn't give you that sort of bassy bottom end, put an album like this on, man, it really pops out, like in terms of the nice bottom end to it. And the sleeve, and of course Aretha in fine form on Arista. Okay, and I think we've got one more. Let's wrap it up with a little Montreux from Mr. Oscar Peterson. And this is a very unusual cover, and it's not split or anything, but it's just got this Montreux, it looks like maybe Montreux Jazz or something like that, and then just says the Peterson 6 there, but it's kind of it's a strangely put together cover, but he's got a great band on this one, and this is really an enjoyable listen. And of course produced by the great Norman Granz. And really enjoyed this. I'm certainly an Oscar Peterson fan on the Pablo label, but really enjoyable. Okay, so that's going to do it for this one. Thanks again for dropping by, and we'll chat again really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.